Peace and prosperity, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. So today we have this beautiful girl, Snow White. Snow White is a German Shepherd Husky cross. And what we are working on with her today, a multitude of things. We're working on a multitude of things, right? But the main thing we're working on is proper leash etiquette. Some people call it loose leash walking. Whatever you call it really doesn't matter. I just want her to walk on a leash without being a jerk, right? And this is a part of her being a jerk, pulling all over the place, right? Every which way. There's no particular direction that she's looking to go. If the wind blows this way, she's gonna go that way. If the wind blows up, she's gonna go up with the wind, right? So she has extreme, what I call extreme trait neuroticism, right? And a lot of that neuroticism comes out of her anxiety, out of her fear issues, right? So we've been diligently working on building her confidence and working on her fear issues. So she's getting better with that, but she's still all over the place. Now, here's the thing, folks. That is who she is, right? Her genetics are not going to change, right? All we can do is manage the environment around her, right? And give her as many tools as we possibly can, right? First, you have to arm yourself with the tools, right? Because a lot of people bring their dogs to me and they think I'm just going to work magic, and when the dog comes home, it's never going to do any of the things that it did before. I promise you, if you don't equip yourself, right, as she pees, if you don't equip yourself with the proper tools and knowledge, when your dog comes back home, it's going to revert right back to everything that it was doing before, right? Because you're not me. So when a dog comes with me, I do my best to give you everything that I've learned over the last, really 40 years, if you really put it all together, right? I've had dogs all my life, so my knowledge around the dogs, my ability to read dogs and understand dogs comes from my years and years of training. So obviously it's hard to give you all of that, in 2, 3, or 4 weeks, right? But I'm going to give you as much as I can. But the most important thing is, if you don't change your mentality around how you treat your dog, then your dog is never going to change. That's the most important part, okay? So I'm just going to show you guys a couple of different strategies or techniques that I use to get the dog in compliance, right? Every dog is a little different. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and preempt this, and we're going to get going, right? You're going to have a lot of positive only, force-free trainers coming into the comments expressing their feelings. Hey, it's your opinion. You're more than welcome to do so. But listen to me, people. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Read my lips. I want you to feel my energy, okay? I want you to listen. There's nothing in the world that only learns by positive only, okay? Nothing. There's no animal or living being in the world that only learns by positive only. There has to be a negative, right, consequence and a positive reward, right? That's just how life works, okay? Now, here's the key thing with any type of negative consequence. You have to be fair, okay? If it's not fair, then it becomes abuse. And from my standpoint, the reason why a lot of these people go so far left or so far right, because they're not balanced in their own lives. So then when it comes to the dog, they take that extreme trait neuroticism, because anytime you go far left or far right, that is no different than this neurotic dog here. You're neurotic yourself, right? So a lot of these people that have this neurotic mentality that you can only do positive, because if you give a dog a consequence or a correction, you're abusing the dog. It doesn't work like that, folks. It doesn't work like that. So let me show you what I'm talking about. Now, this beautiful girl, her food drive is it's so temperamental. She'll have moments where she's excited about the food, and most of the time, it's when we're in the house. But once we come outside, food doesn't matter to her. It has no value. And I've tried many different types of food. It has no value. So we have to use what a lot of people call yank and crank, right? But I am fair in the yank and crank. Let me express to you what I'm talking about. Okay, so as you can see, she's super focused on whatever's going on down there. So I'm gonna reel her in. Snow, good girl. Yes, good girl. Right, now that was a light correction. Doing the least to get the most, right? Go back to some of my other videos. I explained that concept, doing the least to get the most, which basically means I didn't start with the hardest yank that I could do. I did a light yank to see if I can get her attention. If it didn't work on that first one, then I take it up a notch. Doing the least to get the most. It's a fair correction, right? And then once she gave me her attention, that's when I praise her. Again, it's fair because she gets a correction, then she gets affection. Correction, affection. Not affection, 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 affection. It doesn't work, okay? It doesn't work. I know it makes you feel good on the inside, but it does not work for the dog. I promise you, okay? So let's walk. And what we're gonna be working on as we're walking, right, is her healing and her automatic sit. So what I am conditioning her to do is when I stop, she stops and goes into an automatic sit. All right, so let's do it. Good. Hey, sit. Good girl. Yes, that's a good girl. Now, if you notice, I lifted up on the leash a little bit, and when she sat, I released the pressure, right? Because I'm communicating to her that that uncomfortable feeling of the leash being lifted only comes when you do not listen, when you do not comply. But again, I'm not lifting her off the ground and choking her to death, right? It's just a slight communication with the lead, right? That tells her, beautiful, good girl, right? I've conditioned her for that. As you can see, she's not cowering down. She's not trying to run away, right? All that is stuff that would express, that would show you guys that she's been abused, right? She's doing none of that, right? Let's do it. Sit. And I just hold it. There we go. Good girl. That's a good girl. Heel. Sit. Now, if you notice, every time we begin to walk, she immediately goes into the pull. Sit. If you notice, she's all over there. There's dogs over there, right? And I'm just, there we go. Good girl. And I just hold it. And every few seconds or so, I just apply a little bit more pressure, doing the least to get the most, to get her to understand that she needs to focus here. All right, let's do it again. Good. Hey, hey, hey. Now I'm gonna back up some. Good. Come. Once she gets to me, we turn and go. Hey, sit. Heel, sit. Sometimes I give her assistance, touch her back legs. I still lift here and I push on her butt. Good girl. Right? You see the neuroticism? This is why repetition after repetition after repetition after repetition after repetition after repetition after repetition. I'm gonna keep doing it till I run out of breath. Repetition after repetition after repetition after repetition is important, especially for a dog like this that has extreme trait neuroticism, right? You have to condition that. You have to condition their brain, right, to stay focused. It's like ADHD for a human. It's the same concept, right? She has extreme ADHD. That's just who she is, right? So this is why we have to be diligent. We have to be consistent. We have to be persistent, and we have to be patient, okay? We have to be diligent. We have to be consistent. We have to be persistent, and we have to be patient, okay? Very important. It does not happen overnight, but it will happen over time in small increments. So take your wins, take your small wins as they come, and I promise you over time, you will get the result that you're looking for. So look, folks, hopefully you learned something today. If there's something else you want me to address, make sure you put that in the comments, and I promise I'll do a video for you. And make sure, if you have not done it yet, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you share. Make sure you comment. Make sure you like. And until the next video, you are the master of your fate, the captain of your soul. Stay safe, ready, and stay dangerous. Peace and prosperity. Hey, come. Good girl, yes. Hey. That's a good girl, yes. That's a good girl. That's a good girl.